The homes abandoned because of flooding. They're now set to be bulldozed because of the threat of rising waters. So could more homes go this way? David's father died in agony after his broken back wasn't diagnosed for 16 days. Now he wants answers. A special delivery, the bundle, helping those most in need provide a better start for newborns. And trading places, why this church has set up shop in a busy market. Hello, good evening. It's a new and nerve-wracking reality for many communities across Wales that flooding will cause more and more havoc in the future. Around 1 in 7 properties are now considered at risk during extreme weather events. Today, residents in one street in Rhondda Cynon were told the council will buy and bulldoze their homes because they cannot be protected. Well, our rural affairs and climate change correspondent Hannah Thomas is live in Ynysybwl for us tonight. Hannah, a huge day there for families, and we could also see this kind of thing happening more and more in the future.
Yes, indeed, John. Others could face the same fate as the 16 houses you can see behind me here on Clydach Terrace in Ynysybwl. Now, they are set to be demolished because the wall you can see behind me here cannot be raised, say Natural Resources Wales. It is not economically viable to do so. It would cost £9 million, and even then it may not protect those houses. So they are set to be flattened. And today's unanimous decision from the council marked the end of a 6-year campaign for action from residents. The Nant Clydach stream was today running safely alongside Clydach Terrace. But this is how quick the stream can burst its banks and flood the street. This was the scene in Storm Bert last winter. Resident Paul Thomas has lived here for 40 years, but the storms of the last 6 have given him nightmares. He says he nearly lost his life in Storm Dennis.
There's 32 people in this street, women and children, elderly, and someone is going to die. And it's as simple as that. Unless you've been here and experienced, that's a lovely little brook. You know, I wake up to otters playing in the morning. I sit outside and watch the kingfishers. It's beautiful, yeah, but that turns into a different type of beast in a flood condition.
Every day, residents are keeping an eye on the river level, watching every weather forecast, and keeping sandbags outside their houses has become normal. And they all agree that it's not going to get any better with climate change.
With the weather as it is, it's just getting worse and worse each year. It's coming in even earlier. So, like, when we first started watching the river, it was from December to February. Now we're on pins from September. So that's another 2 months of anxiety and stress we don't need.
Well, you can see that the brook isn't even touching the plastic gauge at the moment. But in times of flood, it comes up over that 2.5 metres, meets the reinforcements here, goes straight over the top, down onto the road and straight through the houses on the other side. This was how bad it got in Storm Dennis. There was 8 feet of water in some homes and residents had to swim out through their front doors. Rhondda Cynon was hardest hit.
We have around 25% of all the surface risk of flooding in Wales. It puts us at the highest risk of any authority in Wales. And for river flooding, we're the 4th highest in Wales. And therefore, an awful lot of studies has been done, the TAF catchment areas they call it. Huge amount of work has gone into that by NRW, but what I'm clear with them is now, what are the next steps? Now they know what the modelling looks like with climate change for the future, how much of a risk are areas in RCT.
Tonight there are calls for a Welsh Flood Forum to be set up to help flood victims in the future. But in Ynysybwl at least, a 6-year battle is now over. Well, in today's council meeting, we got a sense, I think, from residents of just what they've been facing over the past few years. They were talking about their children and the fact that instead of asking to play with toys or what books they were going to read, they were actually asking when those river levels were going to rise. They were talking about the physical danger that they've been facing, but also the psychological trauma too. Some residents have actually been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, such as the flooding risk that they've been facing. The leader of the Welsh Local Government Association, Andrew Morgan, was saying that he's been impressing upon the local government, upon the Welsh Government and upon Natural Resources Wales about longer-term solutions. What's going to happen here, not just to these houses next to a riverbank, but also houses in coastal areas as well that are facing these rising sea levels. Already this winter, the residents here on Clydach Terrace have been told to evacuate twice because of those rising river levels in Storm Claudia in December in particular. Next winter, hopefully, they will be out and they will be safe.
OK, Hannah Thomas in Innisfil, thanks very much indeed. A woman has pleaded guilty to rioting in the Ely area of Cardiff following the deaths of two teenagers. Kyrie Sullivan and Harvey Evans were killed in May 2023 after their e-bike crashed. The boys' death sparked hours of violence and vandalism with missiles thrown at police. Michaela Gonzalez was due to face trial at Newport Crown Court today, but she changed her plea to guilty before the case opened. A man has been arrested after a woman died in a crash between a car and a lorry on the A55 near Conwy. Jennifer Brown was described as a valued member of staff by the owners of the care home where she worked. 3 others were injured in the crash. Police have confirmed a 57-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of causing death and serious injury by dangerous driving. A man from Pembrokeshire has told ITV Wales he believes the care his elderly father received at a West Wales hospital contributed to his subsequent death. David Wilson says his 82-year-old dad, Harry, had been discharged from Withybush Hospital with a broken back before being readmitted when his condition worsened. Hywel Dda University Health Board says it can't comment on individual cases, but takes complaints about care very seriously. Lewis Rhys-Jones reports.
My dad was a lovely man, so to feel anger at his death, it's awful.
In June 2024, 82-year-old Harry Wilson from Pembrokeshire had a fall at home. He was admitted to Withybush Hospital's A&E where he was x-rayed for severe back pains, but was discharged after a few days. Mr. Wilson's condition continued to deteriorate and he was readmitted less than a week later.
He had a scan of his back and his back was broken. And when the x-ray was looked at again, the x-ray showed that his back was broken. So they had discharged an 82-year-old man with a broken back.
David's father was transferred to Swansea's Morriston Hospital for surgery, but he contracted pneumonia and died a month after his fall.
If in A&E on the first night he went in, his broken back had been correctly diagnosed from the x-ray which showed it, the next day he would have been transported straight to Morriston for an operation, which would have stabilised his back. And the consultant there said that within days he would have been on his feet, mobile, he would have avoided pneumonia, and in all likelihood would have gone back home.
Now that his parents' house is empty, David's family have also been financially hit, with his mother's monthly care home fees rocketing from £450 to £4,500. He describes the response from Hywel Dda Health Board as abominable.
Their guidance for responding to serious complaints is, I think, 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. 18 months it took for them to send an official letter of response. And it makes you feel sort of sick to the pit of your stomach that they haven't even got the decency to put their hand up and say, yeah, we messed up big time.
Hywel Dda University Health Board said in a statement that they extend their deepest sympathies to the family who continue to deal with their loss. They go on to say that we take complaints about care given to patients under our care very seriously and have robust processes in place to investigate complaints, identifying any issues and, where appropriate, putting improvements in place to prevent such an occurrence happening again in future.
The Public Services Ombudsman is now investigating, with a coroner's hearing also anticipated. But nothing will change David feeling that his father was completely failed by the Health Board. Lewis Rhys-Jones, ITV News.
People in Carmarthenshire are being asked to give their views on arrangements for future school admissions. The council is asking for opinions on its proposed plans for the academic year beginning in September 2027 and includes changes to the catchment areas and free school transport. The consultation closes at the end of the month. The FAW is celebrating its 150th anniversary today. It's one of the oldest national football associations in the world and is responsible for growing the sport since 1876. The past decade has been dubbed a golden era, with the men's team qualifying for back-to-back Euros and featuring in the World Cup for the first time since 1958. Meanwhile, the women's team made their first ever appearance at a major tournament in last summer's Euros. Now, welcoming a new baby into the world is a very special time, but it can also be worrying for people struggling with the cost of living crisis. So today, the Welsh Government launched a scheme where expectant families in poorer areas of Wales get free baby bundles, as they're called. Parents who qualify say it's great to get the clothing, blankets and supplies, but there are now calls for it to be rolled out to more areas. Isa Farfel reports.
Hello. Hi. I'm Molly. Here you are.
In some of Wales's most deprived communities, help is arriving before the baby does.
Look at this. Wow.
From today, some expected parents will receive a baby bundle, a box of essentials before their baby is born.
That's lovely. There we are. Fabulous.
And this morning, the first one is hand-delivered in Newport by Welsh Government Minister.
No.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I genuinely didn't think that they did something like this in Wales. And then, yeah, when my midwife told me that I was going to get something like this, I thought it was a great idea. And I think it's fantastic.
The boxes will be delivered to eligible families in flying start areas. But one charity says many struggling families will miss out and wants the scheme extended to all families on universal credit.
Families listening to you today might say this is not fair. It's a postcode lottery. What would you like to say to them?
Well, as I was explaining, it's about targeting in the areas of greatest need. You know, it's interesting because Scotland was actually criticised for rolling it out as a universal provision because people were saying then, well, you shouldn't really be giving it to people that don't need it. What we're doing, we're rolling this out in those areas of greatest need, but we will keep it under evaluation. We will keep reviewing it, and if we are able to expand it at some point, then that's something we will certainly consider. But at this moment in time, our priority is to roll it out to the areas of greatest need.
But opposition parties say more needs to be done. Plaid Cymru says it would introduce a direct child payment, while the Lib Dems want to extend free childcare of 30 hours a week up to 4 years old. But this isn't just about what's inside the box. The scheme is also supporting jobs in Wales. Items are made in Aberfyle, the boxes are packed in Merthyr Tydfil, creating work and opportunities too.
And obviously as baby bundles, that really resonates with us and our values and our mission. We are supporting people who are disadvantaged in the communities, but also it helps us grow and create more opportunities to employ more disabled and disadvantaged people. So it does really align with our values, and working with APS as well has just been brilliant.
Just having those basic essentials just takes that little bit of pressure off you, doesn't it? So, yeah.
For Molly, though, the help has arrived at just the right time. A small box with a big purpose. A new baby with a better start. Isa Farfur, ITV News in Newport.
Still to come, Ruth, how's the weather looking?
Don't ask. Cold, dull, grey and gloomy, with the possibility of some hill snow thrown in. And well, if all of that sounds frankly less than exciting, Joe, I think you've got something to up the pace for us this evening.
I have. I am practising my skills. I've got my paddle at the ready because I am at Wrexham's brand new paddle centre. See how I get on shortly.
A man from Merthyr is taking on 8 gruelling physical challenges to raise money for and awareness about a rare condition. Geraint Williams has Friedreich's ataxia, a degenerative disorder that affects his walking. He'll use a special wheelchair to compete the races, and Mike Griffiths has been to meet him during his intensive training.
Training hard ahead of an ambitious year. Geraint Williams is a regular at this gym in Merthyr. He's lived with the condition Friedreich's ataxia for more than 20 years. Working out here, he says, helps him build his strength.
I first started seeing problems when I was around 25. Things like exercise and walking became a bit more difficult. Then I progressed to a walking frame, and now I use a scooter or a wheelchair. Just found ways of changing and adapting and making sure I can carry on doing things.
Over the last decade, Geraint's taken on some gruelling physical challenges to fundraise for charity.
Come on, you got another 2.
This year, he's aiming for many more.
We've got to do something, so we ended up doing a skydive, and then it just snowballed from there, really. Obviously, I can use the wheelchair. Doing like triathlons, run events. There's nothing I can't do. If I've got the equipment, then I've got a good group of friends and family who assist me. I put 8 events together, which I'm going to do throughout 2026. There'll be 2 marathons and 6 half marathons, and I'll be doing them all with my son Samuel.
It's rewarding training anyone and making a difference to anyone's life, really. But, you know, when obviously Geraint's facing his day-to-day challenges that he faces, and seeing the benefits he's getting from coming here and training, and, you know, and for me, having that privilege to train him, yeah, it's amazing.
I enjoy being in the gym. I enjoy being as strong as I can be. I'm not trying to inspire people, I'm just keeping fit and trying to raise a bit of money. But if it gets anybody else out there and thinking, well, I can do it, that's great for me, and you know, it's good to know.
Geraint's eager to get started on this year's plans. He knows the support he's getting here and beyond will be a great boost. Mike Griffiths, ITV News in Merthyr Tydfil.
Amazing. Now, what's the strangest stall you've encountered at a market? Well, at Swansea's indoor market, as well as shopping for fruit and veg and bags and shoes, you can also get closer to God. St Mary's Church in the city centre is currently closed for refurbishment. So instead of turning its congregation away, the church decided to set up shop inside Swansea Market. Well, our correspondent Dean Thomas Welch went along for a service of a very different kind.
When entering Wales's largest indoor market, you may notice something that leaves you full of wonder. When you think of Swansea Market, you think clothes, you think electricals, you think amazing food. The cockles and the Welsh cakes here are legendary, but not many people would think of spirituality. Well, that is, until now. St Mary's Church in the city centre has swapped choir stalls for market stalls in a bid to mix religion with retail.
The main part of our church has been closed, and so we've taken this opportunity to come right into the heart of Swansea Market and do a pop-up church here to meet people, greet people, and really be in amongst the community. People who just get used to us being here, walking by, having a chat, doing the jigsaw as we've got here, and leaving a prayer at our prayer station. And it's been really interesting just to be able to have those personal conversations with people, even though we're not within the church setting.
St Mary's, which was designated Wales's first Minster church last year, is undergoing building work, which has seen its doors closed for 4 weeks. Despite the church reopening soon, St Mary's place amongst the card stalls and coffee shops may stay.
Yeah, not everybody's comfortable with coming into church. There's loads of people, so when we had our art installation, that have lived in Swansea all their life and never been in. So this is an opportunity to see people behind the doors that we are just normal people and that it's not a scary experience, and we're welcoming, and come in and you can come and see us. The people I've met here over the time will be back over there, so you're coming to see us as well as coming to see the church.
Next time you're at Swansea Market, don't be surprised to see a vendor replaced by a vicar. The message of God heard in the quiet of church, and now the bustle of this city centre outlet. Dean Thomas Welch, ITV News, in Swansea Market.
Residents in one street in Rhondda and Tav have been told the council will buy and bulldoze their homes because they cannot be protected from flooding. The decision comes as around 1 in 7 properties across the country are considered at risk during extreme weather events. It'll cost the council more than £2.5 million. And still ahead on the ITV Evening News.
Coming up on the ITV Evening News, the PM orders an urgent review of Lord Mandelson's ties with Jeffrey Epstein. We'll have all the details, including what it means for his seat in the House of Lords. Guilty, the Russian captain of a cargo ship that collided with a tanker in the North Sea. And
the Grammy goes to Olivia Dean.
A big night for British talent at this year's Grammys. Would you join me for those stories and more at 6:30?
Next, we explore the latest craze getting people reaching for a racket. There are thought to be around 30 million paddle players across the globe, including some A-list celebrities. And now the sport is growing here in Wales. But if you've not heard of it, our reporter Joanne Gallagher is in the know, and she joins us live from Wrexham. So, Jo, it's called Padel, but not a swimming pool in sight.
No, thank goodness, because swimming is definitely not my forte, although neither is racket sports, which you will see shortly. Very exciting here in Wrexham, and that's because Padel Point Wrexham has opened its doors for the very first time today, and I am with one of the co-founders, David. Tell me why you founded this centre here in Wrexham.
Well, paddle is such an amazingly popular sport, probably the fastest growing sport in the world. Everybody's playing it. People of all ages, all abilities. There's such a fantastic social element to the sport as well that you don't get in other activities. And my wife Sarah and me, who opened Padel Point Wrexham, we wanted to bring indoor courts to the area, so to make it more available to people.
But why here in Wrexham? I mean, we're synonymous with football, not so much paddle.
Well, the football's very popular, but you know, a lot of footballers play paddle as well. We're from the Wrexham area. It's such a vibrant sport. Like I say, all ages, all abilities, fantastic social scene with the sport, and once you play it, so addictive, you don't really want to go back to any other sport.
And it is the first day of opening here in Wrexham, and it's been busy since doors opened.
Yeah, busy. We had a soft opening yesterday where there was free courts and entertainment, but we've been busy today on our first official day of opening from pretty much 9 o'clock this morning.
Now here you're not great at it though.
Not at the moment, no, but our resident coach Lucy has promised me some lessons, so I'm looking forward to them.
Well, that's brilliant. Well, we're going to go and see Lucy now. Right, watch out, ladies, because we're coming in. Watch our heads with these tennis balls. I'm going to find Lucy, who's the coach here. Lucy, tell me how popular this is and how difficult it is to get into.
Super popular and really easy to get into, so anyone can come and play within the first hour. You can, unlike a lot of other racket sports, it's so easy to pick up. The racket is closer to your hand, smaller court, more compact, much easier, and like I said, there's such a trend at the moment. Padel is so popular.
It's great. Well, I'm going to have a go. I'm going to put the microphone down a second. Swap it for this. Right, let's have a go. Should we do it here while they play alongside us? Have you got the ball there? Right, let me see. Oh, and it's all underarm? Yes. Woo! Oh, it's really great. I'm really enjoying it. Well, we're going to carry on playing here in Wrexham, show them how it's done. I'm trying to get my breath. Woo!
Joanne, thanks very much indeed. Yay. Well, time for our daily brolly check. How's it looking for the week?
You just batted that over to me then, John, didn't you? I see what you did. No strings on those. Are they bats or what do you call them? I'm not very good on this kind of thing.
It's not my forte.
That's why we don't do sport, John. I think there's a reason for that, and I will stick with the weather. Mind you, at the moment, you could say I'm not really doing very well on that front either, because it's just frankly miserable. Groundhog Day, and it actually is Groundhog Day as far as the weather is concerned, because for the rest of this week, it's looking cold and cloudy. There's no way of making this sound exciting. There really isn't, with heavy rain working its way in and possibly some hill snow. We know at this time of the year where we've got wet weather and cold air, that's where we get flurries. But it's all very normal for this time of the year, and hill snow doesn't cause disruption because it is on top of the hills. Now, where's all this weather coming from? You might be interested. And actually, you might have heard, I'm sure you have, that across the pond in America, they're having quite a deep freeze out there, and that is affecting our weather in some way. Effectively, there's contrast, the blues and the yellows. Miami, for example, down the south, it's freezing out there. But that's causing quite a lot of energy up in the atmosphere, and that's getting picked up by our jet stream, and that is effectively supercharging a whole lot of low pressure systems, not causing them, supercharging them. So the wet and windy weather that we'd normally have at this time of year is just effectively getting a little bit more excited because of that powerful jet stream. And as I said, we've got an easterly airflow developing, so where the wet weather meets that cold air, it does turn to snow. So it could be quite busy.
Today sees sunshine, sand and a spell of bamboo rafting. TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
All very grey and gloomy out there at the moment. Misty, murky conditions through the hills and valleys and a few spots of drizzle. But into the second part of the night, the winds will start to pick up. And you can see we've got a band of rain that'll start to show its hand across the south by the early hours. Could see some heavy downpours in this, so just be careful on the roads with the surface spray. Likely to be a little bit of an issue. But I think the further north you are overnight, this is where you'll see the drier conditions. But those winds, as I say, by the end of the night, really gusting 20, even 30 miles an hour. So cold overnight, but thanks to the cloud and that breeze, it should be a frost-free night, but it's not going to be the most cheerful of starts to tomorrow. And again, just be careful on the roads. That band of rain will work its way northwards and again possibly falling as something wintry over the hills and mountains, but nothing disruptive, not likely to settle, and all very normal for this time of the year. However, the temperatures tomorrow, thanks to that keen easterly airflow, already struggling to get much above 3 or 4 degrees, so it is really going to feel very, very cold throughout the day. And as we head through it Tuesday evening, then you can see further wintry flurries possible and as skies clear for some. So just be careful, because by the time we wake to Wednesday, yet again, it is going to be another cold start to the day. And I think as far as Wednesday is concerned, largely dry, maybe just a few spots of patchy rain and drizzle, but gloomy skies, particularly further inland. Out towards western areas, dare I say it, we could actually see something a little bit brighter. There may be the odd spot of sunshine. Temperatures still chilly, not as cold as Tuesday. Highs on Wednesday of around 7 or 8 degrees, which is actually where it should be at this time of the year. The cool theme continues, as does the cloudy theme, right the way into the coming weekend.
TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
So never mind the snow, I think the biggest kind of outstanding fact of that is there might be a little bit of sunshine on Wednesday. I know.
Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? That is it. I'll be back, though, with the late headlines after the ITV News at 10. Hope to see you then. But from all of us, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.